Hey everyone, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. I hope you're doing well. So today, I'm going to answer a question from the BJJ Fanatics group on Facebook, which I troll every once in a while. Sometimes I'll throw in a comment, or I'll send a link to a video that I did, because it's a lot of lower belts, and they're asking questions such as, this is Emil Blomqvist, when do I expect a promotion? I have been a white belt for almost 2 years now. Not even a single stripe received. I see my pals receiving stripes and promotions, even newcomers, but all I get, good comments about how good I am and about how much I have improved. I am British, but I live and train in Germany. I am the only foreigner at my gym and I do not speak German. I've also been told I'm very technical and it reflects very well during serious sparring sessions. Maybe the language barrier has anything to do with this. Yeah, that's actually that's a good point. Because it depends on how you learn and how your instructor teaches. As I've said in videos past, I've observed 3 types of styles to either teaching or learning. Style number 1, with your eyes, right? Here, watch me. And then I go and do it so you can see it. All right, and you go, okay, I got it, and you go. Why? Because you're a visual learner. Another one is listen to me, right? Listen to what I'm saying, right here. So this is where I may be saying, put your hand here, put your leg here, put your hook in here, move onto your right butt cheek and base with your left foot, right? So those are all auditory cues. And then you go, okay, I got it. That means you're an auditory learner. The next one is, here, come on top of me. All right. Now, I need you to feel this. You feel my frame? You feel the pressure I'm putting on your hip? Yes. Now, when I lift up, do you feel that? Yes. You feel yourself tipping over? Yes. Now I can move, okay? So that is a kinesthetic teaching sample. Now, if you're a kinesthetic learner and your instructor is a visual teacher, then yeah, that might be a problem. If you're an auditory learner and your instructor, or actually no, let's say you're a visual learner and your instructor in German is speaking in German and he's doing all his teaching via a listen to me method, and you don't understand a word he says, then yes, you're going to have problems. However, we don't only learn in one style. Sometimes we learn in a combination of 2. For instance, if somebody goes, hey Ryan, I'm having a problem, right? And I walk over to them, all right, what's the problem? The auditory type person will tell me, Ryan, he's putting his hand over here and I don't know what to do once he puts his hand here. And I'm looking at him and all I hear is blah, 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 blah. Why? Because I'm visual and I'm kinesthetic, which is weird because I wasn't always kinesthetic and I wasn't always visual. A lot of it was auditory. I mean, I would listen and I would then make my moves from there. But as I've grown older, I've gotten used to being that I have to teach in all 3 modes. I've gotten used to me learning in all 3 now. But when somebody needs help and I need to go over and help them, I prefer for them to do it. Show me what went wrong, and then I can see it and go, okay, yeah, you need to change this or change that. Or if they tell me, whenever I'm on top, I feel my opponent doing this. What's he doing? I don't know. And I'll get on and okay, yeah, I know what he's doing. But if people tell me, he put his hand here, he put his hand there, I'm like, yeah, no, I got to see it, right? That's me. That may not be you. So now, if you're thinking that the language barrier is a real thing, and yeah, it can be a real thing if your instructor can only teach verbally, in German, and you can only learn verbally in English, then that might be a problem. Now, why you're sitting with a white belt for 2 years, I don't know. That depends on you. How often do you train? Are you in shape? What does your instructor want before you get your belt? Some instructors are based on time, which I don't necessarily agree with. Some are based on, I have to see you fight, right? Show me your style, right? Which I don't necessarily agree with. And others are, you just don't know the curriculum. I've been trying to get you to do this for the last 2 years, but you keep doing something else. Now, granted, what you're doing is not technically wrong, but it's not what I want you to do. So that could be a reason why you're not seeing any kind of acknowledgement of your progress, even a stripe. So then again, you know, well, I guess if you're wondering about stripes, it's because they do stripes at your school. We don't do stripes here at White Belt. So if you're a white belt here for 2 years and you're wondering where's your stripes, you know, it's not going to happen because we don't stripe white belts. But yes, I mean, the language barrier could be an issue, but I can tell you that when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, I learned under Grandmaster Helson Gracie. And at that time, his English was far worse than what it is now. And I could understand him to a certain degree, right? We had to speak on this level, right? He had to speak, you know, he probably spoke very high level in Portuguese. I spoke zero Portuguese. So he had to speak English at the level he could speak. So I had to now try to take meanings from his words that may only be 10% of what he's meaning to say. So I have to learn to extrapolate the 90%. And I did, right? A simple one that he would always say, which, you know, some of you Helson Gracie guys probably heard this as well, is a phrase that he would say, make just. And what the hell does make just mean, right? So I would be doing something and he'd go, no, Ryan. I'm like, yeah. And then he says, no, here, that's wrong. You need to make just. Like, you know, at first I'm thinking, what the hell is make just, right? But I'm not going to ask him that, right? I'm just going to think, okay, what is he trying to say? So I would try to change something and he would say, no. And I would change something else. Yes, that's the one I want, right? So I would then learn that make just meant to make an adjustment, right? You know, for lack of a better term, and instead of saying him, you know, use your right hand instead of your left, right? He might say use your right, use your left. I'm not sure anymore. It's been well over 20 years, probably well over 30 years since I've trained with him. But I eventually understood what he said, and I was very comfortable learning from him. There was not a moment where I thought that I was fighting a language barrier, right? It didn't dawn on me, or it did dawn on me, but after a while, it became second nature for me to just learn from him. Now, when I moved to California, the first class I ever took was with Grandmaster Rorion Gracie. And those of you who know Rorion Gracie know how articulate he is. In fact, if you look at his sons and you see how his sons teach, that's because their father teaches like that. You know, his father understands all the three concepts of teaching, auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. In fact, there is a video that he did, an instructor training seminar, and what he did was he had two guys volunteer. He blindfolded one and told the other one, you know, had the one with the blindfold sit down, and he told the one who could see, I need you to, I don't know exactly how it was, but he said, I need you to make your partner walk 10 steps in this direction, 10 steps in that direction, and I want him to be over there, and I want him to sit down. So all this while the guy is blindfolded, right? So he knows he's going to take steps. He has no idea what direction he's going in. So what the guy did was told him, okay, stand up on your feet. So the guy did. And then he said, okay, turn to your left, you know, about 15 degrees or whatever he said, right? So the guy turned a little bit. He said, okay, now walk 10 steps, but he's going kind of the wrong direction. So he tell him, stop, all right? Now turn left 5 degrees, right? And then, okay, now continue on. And it took him a long time to get to his final destination, right? He eventually got there, but it took a really long time. But Rorion was patient with it. What Rorion ended up doing was, says, okay, put the blindfold back on. The guy puts it back on, he sits down. And Rorion goes, this is how you do it. He walks right over, grabs his hand, tells him to stand up, and says, walk with me. And he just, like moving a blind man, right? And it's so simple. But people who don't teach kinesthetically or understand that, you know, how it is to you know, help a blind person, they have no clue. And once he did it, you're like, shit, right? You know, it's one of those things that you'll see once and you'll never forget it. And that will always be in your mind, hopefully by then. That'll be that little bit of wisdom that you had. Now, with regard to promotions and the school that you're at, I know I sound a little insensitive by saying this, but really, what does it matter, right? What's better, to be a good white belt that can hang with any blue belt, or to be a blue belt that cannot hang with white belts? Now, I'm not saying that would be you if you got your blue belt, where you'd all of a sudden get destroyed by white belts. But what I am saying is, better to be underbelted than overbelted. If you're underbelted, maybe for me, maybe not for you. I've been underbelted for a number of years, and it really didn't matter to me, because my thinking is I just love training. So if I never get my whatever belt, right? I was a purple belt for a long time. And if I never get my brown belt, does that mean I'm going to quit? Absolutely not. If I die a purple belt, I'm going to die training as a purple belt. Or once I got my brown belt, I was a brown belt for a long time as well. I didn't really think about the black belt once I got the brown belt. I just thought, wow, okay, life is good. I got a brown belt. I thought I'd never get one, right? So I earned my brown belt, and then I just started training. And I trained and I trained and I trained, and I had a talk with another Kama Jiu-Jitsu black belt who was a brown belt the same time I was, and he'd think about it, right? He goes, oh, I guess we're not going to get our black belts this year. And my thinking was, whatever. I mean, maybe you will, maybe I won't, but either way, if you get your black belt, great for you. I don't care, right, whether I'm sitting at a brown belt or not, because in my mind, I never really thought I deserved the belt I was wearing anyway, right? It was just put on to me by my instructor, and I honored him by putting it on. I'm like, okay, thank you, right? So I put it on, and I was uncomfortable, but whatever, especially when, I'd come up against a younger, bigger, faster, stronger, whatever, lower belt who would just beat me. And in my mind, growing up in jiu-jitsu when I did, size didn't matter. But in all reality, we know size does matter in jiu-jitsu, right? The bigger the guy, the stronger the guy, the more your technique has to be elevated in order to compensate for the lack of height, weight, strength, whatever, right? So for you, Emil, and for you who are watching this, who are not named Emil, but are in a similar situation, don't worry about the belt. You'll get your belt when it's time, right? And it's the same thing with work, right? There's a principle that I think was written by, was it Thoreau? Henry David Thoreau. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But it had to do with what we call the law of compensation. And the law of compensation, it has to do with your work, right? And the law of compensation basically says, you may not be getting the recognition you deserve at your job, or the recognition you want, meaning like the belt, right? You may not be getting the recognition you want. You're not getting your salary, you're not getting it in your promotions, you're not getting it in your attaboy and attagirls, whatever you're looking for, right? But you just do your work. Now, on the one hand, you can look at it and go, man, I'm pretty pissed off, right? I should be getting more recognition, I should be getting more money, I should be getting a promotion, what have you, right? And I understand it can be frustrating. But what you need to do is you need to think past that. And the law of compensation says that if you are not recognized by your current employer for the efforts that you're putting in, somebody else will. In the meantime, keep doing your job to the best of your ability, because someone will recognize it and will give you the accolades you are looking for. However, if you then have that shitty attitude saying, I'm not being recognized, so fuck it, I'm not going to do anything. So what happens then is that your lack of performance, your lack of motivation becomes evident, right? So if you just go, well, I've just been sitting here at white belt for 2 years now and I'm not getting any promotion, not even a stripe, what's the use? So then you just start slacking off, you stop going to class, you start being, start being an ass in class, smart ass, kind of confrontational, right? What's going to happen is your instructor, even more so, is going to say, well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't promote him, right? Because he really doesn't deserve it. On the other hand, let's say you keep plugging away, you keep learning something new every day, or you keep trying to get better at something you already know every day, right? And you just improve. Look for where you suck and make that something you don't suck in, right? Look for something you're uncomfortable doing and become comfortable doing it. Just keep expanding your knowledge regardless of the belt. What will happen is, let's say your job takes you from Germany to, France, and let's say you're from the UK, but you also speak French, right? And you go into the academy, and the new place where you're training, you're as a white belt, and you're all of a sudden just clocking everybody there. Just like you did at your old school without recognition, you're doing it at your new school with recognition. Now your instructor looks at you and goes, wow, wait, you're only wearing a white belt? And you're like, yeah, I'm only wearing a white belt. And then he says, well, we can't have that anymore. So what he does is he recognizes you and gives you a new belt or stripes or what have you. You will be recognized. The thing to be cognizant of or aware of is that it's just between you. You're the only one that's fighting against you, right? And you need to look at it in that way and say, it's just my journey, nobody else. You know, other people are, you know, you meet people along the way, right, in life as well, right? You meet people along your way in life, but it's not their life that you're living your own. And no matter what they say, it can sometimes help you, but for the most part, it's what they did. It's not what you did. So Emil, please try to be positive in this period of time and realize that you're still young in the journey. You're 2 years in, right? 2 years is nothing when you think about it, because this is something that if you truly enjoy it, the promotion does not matter to you at all, zero, because you're going to do it anyway. And it's the same thing with the person who's doing a job and they're not getting recognized, but they just love their job. They show up for work early every day. They leave late every day. They get all their work done and then some. You know, even take care of the work for other people who are slacking off. And your boss, employer, professor may not recognize that, but somebody will at some point in time. And I'll give you an example, right? I've, in the past, hired people that I've seen, or I've tried to hire people who I've seen doing a good job for me at a certain place, right? In fact, I did hire one young lady, and she used to work at this coffee place that I would go to all the time. And this is several years ago now. And she was the store manager. She was very young, very intelligent, and very ambitious, right? So when it came time, when she was having trouble at work because she wasn't being recognized, I suggested to consider working for us. And that I would hire her. Now, as far as the money, right, I wasn't able to match what she was getting because I didn't need somebody that high level yet. But as our organization continued to grow, I could give her more duties just to see what she could and couldn't do, and I would have given them to her to go and run with. And that would have then commanded more money, more recognition, and all that kind of good stuff, right? So she did come on with me, but she did end up, you know, moving out of state, so she didn't work for me anymore. So that's one way to look at it. Or maybe you're at a tournament and you're doing really well, and you end up talking to some other guy, and he's going, "Wait a minute, you know, why is your coach sandbagging you?" Right? You're a white belt and you're in a tournament, and you tap 5 guys in a row inside of 30 seconds, right? To the other coach, you're obviously not a white belt anymore, and whatever, I don't know what the rationale is for your instructor not giving you any stripes or a blue belt, but you know, they have their reasons, and you have to respect that, right? It's their school. At any rate, remember, law of compensation, do more than you're asked, and keep doing more than you asked, and do it happily, and you will be recognized. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Come visit us on our website at kamajujitsu.com. You can also visit us on our app. It's now on Kajabi, Kajabi, and you can sign up for Kama Jiu-Jitsu online there, where you will see we've got probably, I don't know, maybe 300 videos on there now. We're just filling in some gaps on our white to blue curriculum because there are some videos that when we moved it to Kajabi, we lost it on the way there. But Master Dave is doing between 3 and 5 videos a week. So we're trying to load up between 10 and 20 videos per month. I've also been putting up videos as well, especially on the instructor training part of it. You know, people who want to be teachers and want to run schools. I've been videotaping our sessions with the instructors and just throwing it on there. Now, it is long, it is unedited, but if you want to be a fly in the wall in our instructor training seminars, then that's one thing that you can do. I'm also putting up a lot of our class notes videos, and these are videos that don't really fit per se into the curriculum, but they are good to know stuff. They're not necessarily need to know, but they're good to know. Or it could be a need to know concept that's just taught in a classroom setting by one of our instructors, and I'll just go ahead and put that up on there so you can learn from there as well. So you can learn from the structured curriculum, you can learn from the class notes, and you can learn from the instructor training courses that I'll be putting in there as well. And also you can come visit us at our academies. We have 2 of them, one in right outside of Irvine, California. That's Kama Jiu-Jitsu Irvine. And we also have Kama Jiu-Jitsu Dallas Fort Worth in Flower Mound, Texas. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Please, if you've made it this far, please like the video. It helps us with the YouTube algorithms. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our page. I want to say probably only about 20% of you who watch our videos are actually subscribed to our channel. So, you know, if you subscribe and click the bell, then for notifications, then you will get notice of when we put up another video. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.